put another one in his back pocket. 2 weeks later, their star quarterback will be back, and they'll have a couple victories, and they very well could still win it in the NFC East. They very well could still win it.
It was an impressive win by the Cowboys.
It was. Cooper Rush did everything Key talks about a quarterback has to do in that situation. Keep it simple, make the plays, don't turn the ball over. But Parsons, and the reason I thought the Cowboys' record could be better than some people thought without Dak, is Parsons, in the absence of a dominant quarterback, if you have a game wrecker, if you have a guy who's the best player on the field, even if you can still win. That's why the Giants, going to get to that in a second, got Saquon. These dudes have Parsons. And Parsons is the reason they won the game, right? Like, he is. I mean,
he's pretty good. I wouldn't say he's the reason they won.
He was everywhere.
Out of the 15 pressures on Joe Burrow, this 15. Dude accounted for 10 of them.
He by himself,
he by himself 10 of the 15 pressures on Joe Burrow.
And with 2 sacks. And he almost got there a bunch other times. So here's what stood out to me the most.
Pollard rolled out. It was pretty good, pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's everywhere. Here's what stood out to me the most. Giants are 2-0. When it mattered most, they gave the ball to Saquon. He didn't have a great game because, just as I feared, without a dynamic wideout, like his best season, Odell was on the team. You got to honor Odell if you're the defense. Now Saquon can do his thing. There's no one like that on the Giants. Except, I'm going to get to that in 1 second. But in the meantime, even when they keyed in on Saquon, even when everyone knew he was going to get the ball, in that second half, they were running the offense through him, and he was picking up 6 yards on first down. They weren't facing 3rd and long because Saquon, between the tackles, running downhill, was picking up those kind of yards, being the kind of running back people questioned whether or not he could be. And it looks to me, guys, like Kadarius Toney, whatever his attitude is in practice, coaches are going to have to figure that out because he's the one dynamic dude, when he got on the field late in the game, who did start to change things just with his presence. And Saquon and the Giants are going to need that, I think, if they want to have a winning record this year.
Or Kenny Galladay. That would help, too.
I think Kadarius got a little more talent, you know? Key, right or wrong, Kadarius got more talent?
I mean, he's a different type of receiver. He's a little faster, quicker, a little twitchy. But I like Saquon. I thought he did good yesterday. I mean, what did he have, about 75 yards on the ground, something like that. What did he about another 50 in the air, something like that?
He had 84 all-purpose yards yesterday.
Okay. So you win that, you get 84 yards. Everything ain't going to be 190 every week, you know?
Yeah, right.
The Giants won. They got an opportunity. Let's see if they can continue to keep moving in the right direction, you know?
So the Saints' Super Bowl hopes
are still alive. That's
they're going to be pinned to how well Jameis plays. Can he protect the ball? Can he make the plays?
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that. But first, Key has this word from Dr. Pepper.
These guys are Saint haters.
Tua going to need a real barrel after the season. The tote his money, his boatload of money.
Jay Max on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. By the way, we're also now on ESPNU. Listen to KJM on your smart speaker, just say play ESPN Radio. But the ESPN app has a listen live feature. I mean, you go to that on the upper right-hand side, and all I'm telling you is it's a great way to listen to the show. Take us with you. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. So here's the question.
You can hate me now, but I won't stop now.
What stood out this weekend? Because, Jay, some of those receivers had to wait for that ball from Tua. And, you know, if they do that, they only count the touchdown for 5 points. You can't give them the... What stood out to you this weekend?
Biggest
Jay?
takeaway for me, just the play of Tua, man. It was his best game. I mean, down 21 points in the fourth quarter alone, 13 of 17, 199 yards, 4 touchdowns. 4.
Crunch
now,
time.
you can get into the coverage of what Coach Harbaugh and the Ravens were doing with Tyreek Hill because he was butt naked open multiple times. But just the leadership and the way it all worked, that last stretch where Tua led them down the field, even the way Jalen Waddle improvised, this team just deserves credit. Look at the passing yards over the first 2 weeks. Tua leads it with 107.39 passing yards. Like, he's playing well. Now, am I sitting here saying on national TV and radio that he's better than Josh Allen, that he's better than Patrick Mahomes, that he's better than Justin Herbert,
Lamar Jackson? Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I will give credit to is the way he played yesterday, and the precision is better. Just look at the overall stat line. It's beyond impressive, and I just feel like there is this little thing with Key about smaller quarterbacks in Tua that it automatically goes into, well, he's just not the answer for this team, and yet they're 2-0. So we just came up a call about Jameis Winston, and they'll be fine. And, it was one game. I'm like,
You'll
okay.
take Tua over Jameis.
Right now, yes.
Yeah. How about you, Key?
What is it that I feel about Small? I heard Jay say something about I feel like he and Small, but I didn't hear the rest because it was just background noise. Really, to be honest with you, Tua did a good job. He did a good job. You can't take away when somebody does a good job. You can't take that away from them. But I'm not about to sit up and jump up and down and act as though the Miami Dolphins didn't try and replace him 3 different times. I understand that he had 469 yards. I understand he had 6 touchdowns. I understand he brought them from behind late in the game. But I also understand football, and I know that the Baltimore Ravens didn't do themselves any good by doing some of the things they did late in the game from a defensive standpoint. They blew coverages. On top of that, where was Marlon Humphreys? Was he out on the field? How about Marcus Peters? Was he even on the field?
So they let their foot off the gas on defense.
Sure.
Exactly. You have to know these things. That's more of a Ravens issue than it was a Dolphins victory. I'm not going to buy into that, Jay. If you want me to, I'm still not going to buy into
giving
that.
the Ravens an extra
By the way,
loss.
I understand that you love.
Just for context, Key. Just for context, Key. The 2 quarterbacks that they tried to replace Tua with, one has won 7 Super Bowls and is considered the greatest quarterback of all time.
Doesn't matter.
And the other, it does matter. And the other one is Deshaun Watson, who signed the biggest guarantee in NFL history.
Doesn't matter. When somebody is trying to replace you,
Taylor, Key.
If somebody's trying to replace you,
It's not like it's Teddy Bridgewater.
When somebody's trying to replace you, that's because they don't love you.
No,
Okay?
I agree. I don't think they love him. I think they like him.
Different regime now.
No, but I think they like him, Key. Like, the fact is that one of the guys is the greatest ever. The other guy did get that biggest contract ever. It's not like they were trying to replace him with, to be fair, some of your guys that Jay's bringing up, Jameis Winston or
Teddy Bridgewater.
No, I'm thinking of
Teddy
Pittsburgh.
Bridgewater's on the team. He's
Or
the
Mitch
backup.
Trubisky.
No, they're not. Why would you want to replace him with Mitch Trubisky? What's that? You don't want to do that.
Or Jameis. What I mean is formerly high draft picks who, let's be
Jameis
honest, are reclamation
Jameis
projects.
was on a team. You're picking quarterbacks that have to prove something already a second time around.
Key,
They're not trying to replace him with those guys. They're trying to replace him with quarterbacks that they think are better.
Yeah, they have good, they want great. Here's the question, Key. And by the way, for a lot of people, they're redundant with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Why did they do it? Well, I mean, apparently, Coach has 2 dynamic weapons who can coexist so far.
Oh, absolutely.
They can coexist. Yeah, it's a lot
they got
to
speed
account
to
for.
burn. There's no question about it.
Key, how about you? That's what stood out to Jay was Tua and the Dolphins. They're 2-0. What stood out to you?
I would say Cooper Rush. When you looked at this thing with Dak Prescott, we all felt like, okay, Dak Prescott initial diagnosis was he was going to be gone for an extended period of time, closer to 8 weeks, not 4. But as I said, Cooper Rush, once I learned it was 4, if he could just win one game, I gave him one game. I didn't think it was the Cincinnati Bengals he was going to beat, but I gave him Washington. But now he's got one in his back pocket. The Cowboys feel good about it. Obviously, Jerry and company knew more about this situation than anybody out there, so that's why they didn't go try to acquire nobody. They felt good about Cooper Rush. Look, he went, beat the Bengals, a lot of people's Super Bowl team that they thought would go to the Super Bowl, even win the AFC North, and he took care of business. Now